I thank you. Right, welcome to the Chelsea Football FanCast, fuelled by Guinness, powered by celery, and a show that's won more trophies in 5 years than Arsenal has in 8. I like that introduction. I like that. Anyway, moving swiftly along, the name of this show, and I am Stamford Chidge, because I forgot to tell you, but you probably know that already, or by now you should. But the name of this show is, quite appropriately, the Chelsea Football FanCast, a comedy of errors. Yes, and we will be discussing exactly why that is on the show tonight. But before we do that, I have, off his sickbed tonight, he actually, look, he matches the colour of that shirt perfectly, like a puce sort of pink colour.
Salmon.
He's not a well boy, but I welcome back, as always, Pablo.
Yeah, I've been better, but nice to be
You're all right?
Yeah, I'll be
we
fine.
don't need to send out for a nurse or anything, do we?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind.
Wait till after the West Brom game's been talked about.
Okay, and of course we have the lovely, beautifully formed, he's got a lovely crisp white shirt on tonight, and he is the troublesome but legendary Darren Mantle.
Evening, Chidge. Do I not have a bit of a glow to me as well?
You do have a glow to you. You have a glow to you because you probably ran all the way from Chelsea tonight, let alone get a bus. You all right?
Yeah, feeling all right now.
Good to see you, as always. Now, last but by no means least, we have a very good mate of mine. We share a passion in many, many things. One of them is Killing Joke, funnily enough. But Al Gregg, who is punk rocker, actor, Chelsea author and full-time Chelsea supporter. And Al, of course, wrote one of my favourite books, The Wrong Outfit, didn't you?
I did, eventually, over
a
few years.
It is one of my favourite books, Greg, and it's about Chelsea and punk, but not necessarily in that order, is
That's
it?
right, it's all mixed together.
And are you well, sir?
I'm very well, thanks, Chidge. It's good to be here.
Well, it's nice to have you back on the TV version.
Yeah.
Been on the podcast version.
Yeah, there won't be so much industrial language as before, which is a shame.
We're here, we're there, we're not allowed to swear.
And we might have to be a bit careful if I start singing as well.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, mate, compared to last week when we had Walter Otten on, nothing can be quite as song-heavy as that show, I don't think.
I'd agree.
Walter was on fire, wasn't he?
Mixler can't hear us right now, by the way.
OK, Mixler can't hear us right now. OK, well, I can't really deal with that until we go to the break, because you know what I've done, don't you?
Greg could hear.
You know, Greg can probably actually plug Mixler back in. That would be nice, because Chidge has plugged it in the wrong hole again. Now, I know that sounds like a cue for a joke. I'm not trying to encourage you, I promise, but there you go. Anyway, of course, I've forgotten to mention that we do actually have some very lovely people on the benches this week. There we go. Look at them. I think round of applause for our benches this week. We have the one Harry Baker. We have the lovely Bunsey. Now, Bunsey, if people were watching the show the other week, is the poor lad who was stuck in Bucharest very dolefully on his own, bless him. But he survived to fight another day, and he's here on the benches with us for his first appearance on the benches, Bunsey. We have the lovely Teresa, also known as Blue Baby, for those of you who follow us on Twitter. And yes, and she's also on the Supporters Trust, so we're honoured by her presence. Last but by no means least, we have my favouriteest chef in the whole world, Andy Silverman, who brought us wonderful, wonderful cakes and biscuits last week. They were wonderful, mate. Thank you for that. So there we go. So we've got benches tonight as well. You may have noticed, in fact, because the keener observers of you will know already, that we don't have Chelsea Chatter on the show this week. But I am told, a little bird tells me that he may well be available by Skype to do his stats. So, annoyingly, I don't get rid of the stats, but I did try, honestly. Anyway, right, so on the benches, if you do actually want to join these lovely people on the benches, all you have to do is you have to email us at chelseafancast@gmail.com and you ask your Uncle Chidge very, very nicely, and invariably I say yes. You can come on the benches. So there we go. And of course, for those of you who are not quite listening to us on Mixler yet, because I haven't plugged it in the right hole, but you can actually interact with us while we're doing the show, going to Twitter at Chelsea FanCast, using the hashtag Chelsea FanCast. And of course, the live chat page on Mixler, which you can find at mixler.com, mixler.com/Chelsea-fancast. There we go. Now, we do have a section in the show dedicated to you. Yes, you, the viewer. I always say listener, but it is in fact the viewer, which is probably my mum. But if there's anybody out there watching other than my mum, you can join in and ask questions in your on CFFC. And one of the lovely ways to do that, other than Twitter and Mixler, is in fact to do us a Skype call. And you can do that by adding chelsea.fancast on Skype and getting in touch with Greg, the producer, and it can be you. So there we go. So, other than all that, we've got, obviously we're going to talk about the West Brom game, sadly. We're going to talk about the Schalke game, delightfully. We've got the man of the match, chart of the match, Guinness, and all of that malarkey and the fannies. And last, but by no means least, we have a chance, a couple of more weeks of plugging this, but a beautiful Chelsea retro shirt. There we go. This one's got the legend that is Gianfranco Zola on the back. Okay, and you can win one of those. CampoRetro.com. I've been running this competition for a few weeks, and I will be revealing how you can actually answer the question that I will post you and win this beautiful shirt. But amazingly enough, we have some football to talk about. I know I put it off as long as I can, but we have. And right after this little stingage, we will be talking about the West Brom game. Hello, hello, hello. I do like a bit of old school, stingage like that. It makes me feel all kind of nostalgic and warm and fuzzy. Unlike the West Brom game, Pablo, which made me... I mean, actually, to be fair, I was quite phlegmatic about it. And when we got the way we got the equaliser, actually just made me laugh raucously. So it wasn't all bad. But the bottom line is, I thought it was a pretty poor performance by Chelsea. But we did get away with it with a nailed-on penalty. Didn't we? In not just the last minute, it was 90 plus 6 minutes.
Well, no, I wonder if...
When we were supposed to have 4.
It was when it was taken.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm delighted in the fact that we got away with a bit of Fergieism. But I have to say, I need to state this for the record, people out there. Our 2-2 draw with the mighty West Brom was the best result by a London team this weekend. So how about that?
I think Palace might have something to say about that.
Yeah, Palace probably would. Now, I'm at this stage... I should have actually said earlier in the show, but we normally have the legend that is Ross Mooring with us, don't we? And he kind of goes through all these geeky ratings, and you think we've got away with it, don't you, this week? You is wrong. You is so wrong, because I've actually got the boy to do some work. Ross has got flu, by the way. He's actually seriously not well with man flu, but I got him to get off his sickbed and send us in some What's His Waitings, and here they are. Actually, I'll tell you a little secret, Pablo. I nicked these off Rick Sharma. These aren't Ross's at all. So there you go. I'm so honest, aren't I?
To be honest, I think they're almost exactly what Ross would have done, and I don't think there's much to complain about.
Well, do you know what? I kind of hope that Ross would have done these because, Ross seems to like giving everybody 5 or 6, but I was quite delighted to see a couple of 4s there.
Yeah. Yeah,
so let's just go through them, really. Cech gets 4, Ivanovic gets 5, Cahill 6, Terry 6, Azpilicueta 6, Ramirez 5, Lampard 4, Willian 6, Oscar 5, Hazard 5, Eto'o 6, and the subs Mata 6, Mikel 6, and Barr 5. I mean, as Pablo said, I think those are perfectly reasonable, to be honest. And I'm really sad to say that I thought Lamps had a pooper of a game, and Cech made an absolutely monumental. I think actually both the goals you could really blame him for.
I think the defence needs to take more responsibility for the first goal, really, just purely because he made a save and they all just stood there, very similar to ours.
Terry was shocking for that. He didn't sort of jump. He was kind of at his back, to the ball and everything.
I completely agree.
Sorry.
I was going to say, like, Cech obviously got a 4. His position was bad for the second goal, and the fact he went under him. But really, it was Terry. I think it was mainly his fault for the first one. I think if you're giving Cech a 4 really on that second goal, more than anything, maybe Terry deserves to be marked down one for. It was unforgivable defending.
None of them jumped, did they?
It should always be winning a header.
Yeah.
That stick his head anywhere. I guess he obviously didn't realise someone right behind him. He was waiting for the ball to drop to him. He must have just had a couple of seconds off. But
there were 5 Chelsea players around.
Yeah, Cahill was there as well, and he didn't jump either.
It was a very poor goal to concede. And I just think that generally, I think all of us would fess up to the fact it was a pretty poor performance. But particularly disappointed in Lamps, and I think deservedly gets a 4. As does Cech, and I thought Hazard and Oscar, again, put in a very lightweight performance, as did Ramirez. I mean, and actually, here's the thing, because this is kind of an overall, let's all kind of be rotten about the players, and I think it's nice once you get this out of the way, but the bottom line is that when you have a lot of players in a team underperforming or not performing well, then it's no surprise that you actually, I mean, in many respects, we probably did deserve to get beaten, I think. Yeah. I dare I say it. I know a certain CFC away will be, daggers in my eyes.
I think it's a case of we thought, well, it's West Brom, we'll win it anyway. And, I think the goal came at a time when the first half was like we were playing through glue, and then we suddenly got this goal, and then thought that was it.
Here's an interesting thing, Greg, and you were in Gate 17 yesterday. I know you were not yesterday.
No,
Saturday.
I usually go in the Matthew Harding lower, but yesterday I was in the manager's bar of the East Stand, next to the pensioners. So for like the minute silence, that was all fine.
Yeah.
But the minute silence then lasted for the whole of the first half because no one sings in that area.
I was going to say that's true, but I mean I was going to say actually that the interesting thing was, you know, you mentioned about the fact they were in treacle for most of the first, well, until they scored. But actually, I thought, you know, the way they played in the last 15 minutes of the game, if they'd have actually started like that, we'd have absolutely cuffed West Brom, I think. So why do they have to, like,
I think
put themselves under
Oscar
this pressure?
shouldn't be an untouchable because Mourinho's making him that. And I think because of his performance, maybe he was all right against Schalke, but the game before Newcastle, I think Mata should have started.
But then when Mata did come on, he tried to be far too clever and gave away almost every single
ball you're right.
had, really.
But
so
I think that might be the time. You know, maybe if he'd come on a bit earlier, he wouldn't have been so kind of hurried with everything.
Yeah. There is lots to discuss. Good job we've got a whole part coming up to discuss exactly this, because I think that we're going to be... we could probably do this in 2 parts, really, but thankfully we're going to restrict it just to 1. And we will be back right after this lovely break.